This podcast contains strong language and discussions about relationships and sex. It may not be suitable for younger listeners. This is the Sex and Singapore City podcast, and I'm Nixalina Watson. Hi everyone, it's Nixalina and I'm back with another episode of my wonderful podcast. How y'all doing? This one is like a how-to, a do's and don'ts vibe. It's something I talked about a fair few years ago and it keeps resurfacing. So basically the aim of the game with this is how to become a successful blogger, the do's and don'ts of blogging. You can interchange the word blogger and blogging with Instagrammer, with influencer, however you want to coin it, media creator. But originally this was when I was not a podcaster, just a blogger. And basically I kind of reached the height of my fame back in the UK and I got a lot of interviews about how did I get there. A lot of DMs, a lot of emails. And I think that's generally what happens when someone reaches success in their chosen field. Everyone usually wants to know like how you've done it, especially if it's something like this where people also want to go down that field. I'm not just talking about blogging with relationships, with fashion or beauty. I mean, people do blogs now about fitness, about, lifestyle choices. There's like a whole array of media outlets on the internet and people's expertise. But to start as a blogger, especially in this day and age, it does feel like a minefield. It always has done. And you just think, oh my God, like how? How do you set it up? How, when, why? How do you get success? How do you get this? Blah, blah, blah. So having answered lots of individual interviews and questions, more interviews and questions, I put together basically my own checklist on achieving success as a blogger / influencer / Instagrammer. And hopefully in the future, I'll be an award-winning podcaster. And though some of the story times that are going to be released, I guarantee people are probably going to not want to listen to me anymore. But stay tuned for that. So this checklist, I will reiterate, it's not set in stone. It's not any kind of verified global rules. There's no blogging powers that be from up above that have certified what I'm about to say. But this is basically, when I look back on my own career, how I deem how I got there. And for those of you who don't know, in London, I set up Sex and London City in 2010. I was 23. In the blogging world, that's actually old. I remember looking at one of the bloggers I really liked at the time. She was 16, 17. Yeah. And I set it up just because I like to write rather than I want to be a blogger. It was more I want to have a website back. At the time, I'd moved from working for a magazine into being a makeup artist for Benefit Cosmetics. So I was doing makeup full time, but really missed having a writing outlet. I had no idea. Oh, God, I had no idea it was going to escalate at all into this. And I actually set the blog up when I was just chilling out at my dad's house in the bedroom one day. And it's just crazy to look back. So within about a year, I had got an agent. I was then, within about a year and a half, 2 years, working with Rimmel Cosmetics, doing London Fashion Week videos, makeup tutorials for them. I was going to press events in London. I was doing a lot of stuff. And I also had a full-time job at the same time. And then in 2014, I won Best Sex and Relationships Blog Award for Cosmopolitan UK magazine. And then I won a job with London Metro, which is quite a big London website. And I was their dating vlogger. And then I was asked to cover MTV EMAs in Scotland and do red carpet. So this is the kind of stuff I kind of got to do quite quick. I say quite quickly, so it was like 4 years, but in the grand scheme of things, that is quite a quick turnaround, but it takes a lot of graft. And then after that, I was then freelancing for the likes of Glamour, Daily Mail. I'm not proud of the Daily Mail, if I'm totally honest. There's a lot of photos of me on there in my lingerie, and we all know Daily Mail. Yes, we all know what we go there for to read. It's not exactly decent stuff. It's more salacious. But never mind. And yeah, I was earning a lot of money. I was being asked to do a lot of cool gigs. Yeah, and a lot of interviews. So for anyone who wants to follow in said footsteps, or perhaps something surrounding this kind of media content creation area, this is the podcast that I've created for you. So let's get to it. The do's and don'ts of blogging, how to become a successful blogger. Number 1, do find a gap in the market and fill it. So there are hordes of famous fashion, beauty, travel and lifestyle Instagrammers and bloggers out there. If you want to compete with the best of the best, I think you should take a look at what's missing and kind of make it your aim to provide something that nobody else does. This doesn't mean by any stretch of the imagination avoid the same subjects, just find your own unique angle. For me, I actually set up a blog called The Modern Day Mary A. Marie Antoinette, the Queen of France, was obsessed with luxury, all the finer things in life. And I kind of not, actually, ironically, so not like that. So I don't know what I was thinking. But that was my fashion and beauty blog. And then I started writing about dating in London and bad dates and previous terrible trysts. And I called that segment Sex and London City. So it was actually originally just a tiny segment on the modern day Mary A. And then I started noticing the traffic and the uptake and the social responses to these particular dating articles. So then I searched and I thought, God, there's got to be a company out there that's already done Sex and London City. I mean, it's an obvious kind of take off Sex and the City, which is so famous, and weirdly no one had done it. I thought it was very odd. So I then rebranded and I made everything Sex and London City. And that's kind of where I felt I had found my gap in the market. I did do originally fashion and beauty, and beauty I do have, I was a makeup artist, I have the kind of expertise, but my niche, which I worked out along the way, was the relationships, dating, and like the really honest advice. So I think if you focus on your own unique angle, you don't have to find a topic nobody's talking about. That's probably impossible. But what's your views? What's your passion? And that should help with like your success. Point number 2, don't see other bloggers as competitors. See them as inspiration. So there are many, 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 many established bloggers and influencers and Instagrammers, okay? But that doesn't mean that you can't also try it. So I think, like, can you imagine if Adele never tried to sing because Mariah Carey already existed? Or Taylor Swift never put up a record because Katy Perry was already there? Or, Mariah Carey didn't ever want to sing whenever she was near Whitney Houston? Or, like, if you look at all these people, like, everyone has a unique sound. And, like, Ed Sheeran and Lewis Capaldi example. Like, you could go, Lewis, like, oh, no, there's already an Ed Sheeran out there. But I love them both, and they're both successful, and it doesn't have to always be a competition, even if it's a very similar style like those two. So see these people not as, I might as well not bother, like, I'm never going to get as good as that feed. I'm never going to take photos like that. Don't do that. See it as inspiration, like, okay, what can I do? How can I make myself different? What reflects me? And I think as long as you're, like, proud of yourself and your own content, you shouldn't see other people as competition anyway, right? Competition actually helps push you to make yourself better. So it's kind of, it's a pretty good thing. If we didn't have any competition, we didn't have anything else to look at, we would kind of probably get quite lazy, especially in the content creation world. So always try and see everyone else as like a pick-me-up to your own creative push. Point number 3, do trust your own creativity. So when I started out, 1, I was old as fuck. And 2, I had no idea what I was doing, in that I could write, and I'd worked for a magazine before, but I'd never ran the website. I just uploaded the content as an intern for the magazine in London. So at this stage, I didn't know really what blogger.com was, what WordPress was. It was all pretty alien to me. So all I knew at the time was I can write. I've done an English literature degree. I know I can write. So what I would do is I'd just trust in the process of myself that my articles were funny, they were honest, and they were worth a read. So, but even that, I couldn't really trust that other people were going to find it funny. I might be like, oh, this is hilarious, or God, I love when I read this back, I'm really proud of it. And then other people might be like, you're shit. But that's where the trust comes in. You have to trust your own creativity. Even if 25 billion people were like, you're really shit, you got to hold on for the fact that you're not, and the time will come. And, when I first set it up, of course, within the first 6 months, 8 months, 9 months, I wasn't really getting anywhere. And it's very easy to go, I'm going to give up. But I loved doing it so much. And I genuinely really believed in myself that actually within a year, I did have an agency helping me run the blog. And obviously, as I've mentioned, I've done Cosmo, Glamour, Daily Mail. I've also been on Radio 1 doing a live set, which was the crazy times. But yeah, for me, I think when I think back, I go, I literally achieved this in my bedroom. I took a laptop out, I created a random blog, and then I've got to here. So I feel like just trust in yourself. I can't labour that point enough because it's really important to me. Point number 4, do ask for help. So logo design, got no idea. Templates, can't design them for shit. Get help. My template on the blog, I quickly learned to pay someone to use one of their templates. And then if I'm like, I don't know how to slip this, and just email them to help. I also have a graphics designer who done my 2 logos for me, 2 different people. I've now just got a new person to do my new podcast logo. Don't assume you have to do everything on your own because it's pretty overwhelming otherwise. So if you have your idea and you're like, right, I know I've got the idea. Okay, Google WordPress templates. Okay, let me have a look there. If you're setting up an e-commerce site and you want to use Shopify, okay, Google best Shopify templates and have a look at what they have. And these templates, albeit Blogger, WordPress, Shopify, they're all pretty cheap in terms of the value that you're getting for buying them, okay? Because at one time I actually paid a designer to design the whole website for me from scratch. It cost me a lot of money. And in hindsight, I could have just bought a fucking template and no one would have known. So that's what I did. You live and learn. Number 5, do write/post on Instagram what you're passionate about. So if you don't really give a shit about mugs or ants or flowers or beaches, or you don't give a shit about the latest craze in bubble tea, don't post about it. Readers can tell when someone genuinely is passionate about what they're writing about. And I don't feel any pressure to post photos on your Instagram, to be like another influencer, to post the stuff that they're posting, because then it just gets lost in a sea of the same shit, different account. And I can't fucking bear that. And it goes for filters. Don't use a filter. Oh, her photos look nice. Oh, okay, what has her filter? And I'll copy it. Find your own passion and your own footprint. Number 6, if you can't write, make it one hell of a picture instead. So for me, as a qualified writer, my articles are pretty lengthy and almost like mini stories. Probably a bit too long, if I'm honest. But not all bloggers or influencers or Instagrammers can write. And I totally appreciate that. And I actually used to, at the beginning, get quite irate that, why are you blogging if you can't even write, you actually can't spell, and then it still irks me a little bit, but I kind of grew up to thinking, okay, whatever, that if you can't write, that doesn't reflect on the strength of my blog. And actually, some photos that people take, I'm like awe-inspired. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you've done that. Or the outfit they've put together is like insane style. I'm just like, wow, I wouldn't even know where to begin. All these makeup looks that they do, like insane. So I've started to have appreciation for other people's creative outlets. So, okay, you want to have a blog to back up your content, or you want to write, decent captions on your Instagram, but you can't write, just to put all the strength in your imagery. And then it kind of should overshadow the writing. Number 7, do get social media savvy. Unfortunately, if you do have a website, you do want to set up a website, or you have a brand, social media, you're going to have to get on board. That doesn't mean you have to get a fucking TikTok account, okay? I'm so not going to ever do some stupid dance on TikTok. I'm like, whatever, if you have a TikTok account, like my bestie Chantel, I don't hate you in that. I just don't expect my green, old as fuck white arse on there, because it ain't happening. However, TikTok is actually one of the best tools and social media movements to earn. Like, it's insane. I mean, before, I remember when Instagram become like this massive earner, and YouTube, obviously, like what they earn is ridiculous. But TikTok is now, I'm pretty sure, well up there. It's not just a fooling around, having a dance with your dog in the living room. It's like for people that are fucking serious. So kudos to those who've nailed the TikTok, because it's a whole scary world to me. But make sure, as your brand, you have a social media platform, even if you only stick to one, which I would advise you not to do, because as most of my followers would know, my Instagram account got hacked end of last year. November, December? Yeah, the whole page disappeared. I was fucking traumatized. I got up to 20,000 followers. It's 10 years, a decade of content. Gone. And that was a real wake-up call to me. So I was like, thank fuck, I already have Sex in Singapore City and Sex in London City. And at the time, I'd also started my podcast, because if you put all of your content into one channel and something happens, like Instagram is just an app. TikTok is just an app. So if something crashes or someone hacks your account like they did mine, you're fucked. So it's laborious, but it kind of needs to be done. Get yourself across as many platforms as you can. Keep your branding consistent. Get your content planning consistent. What am I going to post today? What am I going to link to today? Do I post every day? Do I post it 3 times a week? And then start delivering a message that represents what you're trying to say and who you are. Number 8, do network your cute butt off. I can't even tell you how many press events I've gone to. Like, if we're looking at the past decade, oh my God, so many. Twice a week, pretty much every week, every couple of weeks. Thousands and thousands. And when I first started out, I went to the opening of a fucking envelope. I worked all day as a full-time job, and any press event, I was there. It exhausted me. It made me pretty ill. I'm not going to lie. It wasn't all fun. I was generally like running on coffee and fatigue. Most press events, there's a lot of alcohol as well. So I was running on alcohol, which meant I probably forgot most of the press event. But yeah, network. Network, in a way, it doesn't have to be press events. If you're like, okay, I don't even know how to get invited, which is a very good point, then network online. Find your little niche. Okay, who's going to follow me? Who's doing the same thing? Who's doing the same thing but better? Who's doing something similar? Let me have a look at what they're up to. Maybe you can connect. Maybe you can collaborate. You know, if we're not seeing everyone as competitors, we're actually seeing everyone as like fellow success stories and people that can inspire. Collaborations are amazing. As you've probably all listened, I had the awesome Hanley Hofer on my podcast. She's also a female podcaster in Singapore. But we kind of have like such the same vibe and mindset. It is ridiculous. So if I had originally seen her as competition, then yeah, that would never have happened. So I think you don't have to just network in real life. I actually met Hanley online when I was talking about one of my TV shows I did, ISO Day. So you just have to make sure if you're going into this world that you do have the social skills. And if you don't, they are teachable. You can learn to be able to approach people, to network, to make connections and make genuine connections. So many people, especially in London, that I used to knock about with, people that would be at press events, you can tell that they were fake from the get-go and I just couldn't be interested in them. But if you got a genuine person there who is genuinely interested and real and honest, it stands out. Number 9, don't expect overnight success. Okay, so many people would say to me, how do I get your job? I want free stuff. I should start a blog so I can get free stuff. I want to go away like you did. Like, I don't know, eBay UK sent me to Paris for one weekend. I won a fashion shoot competition and they sent me for an all expenses paid trip to eBay. And that is just one example. I got sent to Galgorum Spa in Ireland, which was amazing. But all these little trips and all of these perks that I would receive would spark people to message me. How do I get that? I want free stuff. Okay. Whilst I get it, I also have to point out, I didn't decide to create a blog one day and then suddenly the next week, I'm sitting in London Fashion Week front row. That just doesn't happen like that. It takes time, energy, and a lot of hard work. And I've been previously described, I think the guy was trying to chat me up. I've been described as a swan, where all you see on the top is this beautiful white swan just gliding along, but you don't see the dark legs underneath paddling super fast to keep the swan moving forwards. And what an odd chat-up line. But it stuck with me because it's a great analogy. And I was like, oh yeah, that's a really lovely thing to notice, actually, that is kind of how it feels. So everyone's like, right, I want the success. I want the surface bit, but no one wants to put in the effort, right? So just be prepared to not get overnight success, but keep going anyway. I've cut number 10, do make blogger friends. I have covered this point, I guess, before. But actually, I've really surged forward with making friends in the community and realized actually how much better it is to have people in the same field as you, the same interests, because it helps you go, okay, I'm going to realign myself with like, wow, this is what you do. And you can swap ideas and start getting like, it's a good support system to have, to make friends, real friends within the same field that you're going into. Number 11, do treat your blog like a brand. That goes also for all your social media channels. Your Instagram account is your brand. Think about the design, the layout. Ensure the design is uniform and consistent across all social platforms. Create business cards, create e-flyers, create an EDM system. Follow the right people on social media. Tweet if you use Twitter. I know it's not a big thing over here. Tweet relevant images. Visualize your brand as a whole and work towards that goal so that every time someone sees that logo, someone sees an image of you on Instagram, they'll know what to expect. They know what your message is. My message is, I think I have green hair and I say what I fucking want. And people know that it's not filtered. Oh, is that a good message? I don't know. Number 12, do work for free at the beginning. It's crap, but it's life. I worked my ass off for free. And I kind of still do as well, because I can never say no to something that sounds really fun or it's a really cool job. And I also struggle to put a value on my head. So I'm like, oh no, I'll do that. I'll do that for free. I'll do that for free because I can't say, yeah, I'm worth this money. Because for me, writing is so natural. I don't see it as a talent because I just can do it. And then sometimes I write for people and they're like, oh my God, that is insane. It's like my girlfriend's just set up a new website. She's actually launching her own swimwear. And I helped her write all the content. And it was just, it's like easy. And she's just, oh my God, it's amazing. So I can't put a price on my head. That being said, Don't let anyone take the piss out of you. Lots of people did me. But be prepared to work for free at the beginning until you've established yourself as a successful branding name that you can then command payment for, albeit branded content or sponsored content. If you're wondering the difference, I get asked that a lot as well. Sponsored content is when they pay you to create it. So I'll write the blog, I'll design the images, I'll write the title, I'll write everything. I just get given a hyperlink. Okay, well, you want to link to this brand, or here's the new product we're trying to sell, here's some photos, go and do what you will. That obviously costs more than branded content. Branded content is when they send it all to me. Okay, how much would it cost you to post this? We want you to post this image and post this caption. How much? So it's less work my end, so it's a cheaper rate. On that note, number 13, do understand that content is your queen. Content will be one that drives hits, drives traffic, increases Google ranking, and spreads your brand name. So social media networking and connections all help, which is what I've previously spoke about. But content is what is needed. So if your content is shit, don't bother. Don't wrap up something, you've really got to put the graft in to make content the best it can be. If you can't be asked to do that, the basics, then you shouldn't jump on this bandwagon. Take time to create content that people want to engage in, and the rest will follow. Content is your queen. Number 14, don't feed off negative comments on the internet. I get negative comments. Not often, but quite often. Get a thick skin. If you don't have a thick skin, get one ASAP. Even if you've just got an Instagram account and you want to just become an Instagram influencer, get a thick skin. Don't read the comments. That's all I can say. Number 15, accept you'll always have new stuff to learn. So you don't know what camera to buy? Google it. You don't know what hashtags to use? Google it. Need SEO help, search engine optimization? Attend a course. Don't know how to use Photoshop? Download it, watch an online tutorial. Everything out there is available for you. You just need to take time to research, to learn, and then to master whatever is needed to push your brand. Obviously, Photoshop costs money, a new camera costs money. You don't have to have all of these things, but they help. But there are also online softwares that are free. Or there's Canva.com, there's PicMonkey.com. You can download Photoshop but not have any, you don't have to go to a paid course. You just watch the Adobe video tutorials that are all free to access. So there are certain ways you can really get around this, especially if you don't have the spare cash, to still get the same results. Number 16. Very important. Do have me time. That has nothing to do with your blog. So when I'm not blogging and I just need time out, I go to the pool, I paint a canvas, I go and play netball, I go for long walks. I need time away from my blog. It helps keep me balanced from all the social media and the emails and the events, and it helps make it not feel like a burden, because when you don't have time out and it's all you think about, and I get it because I was supercharged the whole time, blog content, writing photos, writing Instagram, just on. You will burn out, because I did. So it's first-hand advice. Don't get there. Number 17. On that note, do be prepared to work until you're half dead. I say this with tongue-in-cheek, of course, but I did work myself into exhaustion in 2014, and it wasn't a good time. That being said, hard work. I wouldn't go and change it, I don't think, because hard work got me to where I am now. It even got me into Singapore. Literally where I'm sitting right now, I really worked hard on my own brand. So whilst I can't change it, I feel like you do have to be prepared to work your ass off, to get a job that pays the bills, to find the spare time. While everyone else is relaxing, having a brunch or having a coffee weekend or whatever, walking the dog, playing by the beach, you kind of should be dedicated to your work. I think it's best to maybe give yourself a time limit, 5 hours a week. 5 hours a week, if that's all you can spare on my brand, And then another 5 hours doing something else completely different to switch my mind off. Like, just give yourself a schedule and a boundary and then stick to it. Number 18, do accept that people won't like you. We literally cannot please everyone. Crowd pleasers are not true to who they are. I'm going to say that one more time for the people at the back. Crowd pleasers are not true to who they are. You can't please everyone. I mean, like, take my blog. I'm sure there's plenty of people who think it's too colourful, too honest, too vulgar. Like, people think I'm a slut. There was a whole, like, this was many years ago, but I did an article for the Daily Mail, and the term sex blogger got picked up internationally and got changed to sex worker or porn star, which I'm not. But that then sparked a whole load of comments and messages about me being a porn star to my Instagram. I'm like, what? And then I had to work out where all this media had come from. Yeah, people don't like you. People won't like you. Not everyone will like you. Just accept it and go, okay. But the people that will, they're the ones that I'm playing for. That's the crowd I'm after. So no fucks given. Number 19, do be prepared to change sails and swerve down a new course. Like I said earlier, my blog wasn't originally called Sex in London City. Also, I didn't know I was going to ever have sex in Singapore City. I was supposed to still be in London right now, pushing my Sex in London City brand to like the nth degree. I was going to set up my own dating agency. I was going to launch my novel there. And lo and behold, 2016, I get a job and now I'm living in Singapore. So you kind of have to be malleable and a bit lenient with yourself and your ideas and your strategy to go with what life throws at you. To think, okay, how can I make this work for me? Okay, that's not working. Or I had a good idea, but actually that was a year ago and now I feel very different. And now I've seen things differently. It's okay. Be prepared to go on a new course. It doesn't mean you're giving up. It just means you're changing your direction and it's probably for the better. It certainly was in my case. And finally, number 20. Sorry if this has been a bit long, guys, but it's a good one. Number 20, have fun. You gotta love what you do and you gotta do what you love. And the only reason I believe I've managed to make it this far is that I love what I do. Because even hard work, even if you work your ass off till you're half dead, if you don't love it, you won't get anywhere. And if you get somewhere, you'll just go, what's this all for? I hate it. Always find the fun in everything you do. If you don't want to post that fucking photo, don't post it. Don't feel compelled to conform to, social media rules. If you're really, really not feeling it, don't worry about it. Do everything that makes you smile on the inside, that reflects who you are as a person and that you're proud to post. And if you do that and all of the above, I genuinely believe you will be successful in whatever venture you are going down. And that's it from me. Thanks for listening. Any more questions on this topic, because it is a minefield, hence why this has been quite a long episode, do message me on Instagram at Nixalina, Nixalina. Any questions and I will try my best to help or send you in the right direction if I can't. Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Sex in Singapore City podcast. This episode was produced and hosted by me, Nixalina Watson, and recorded at the Splicecast studio in Singapore. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and all major podcast listening apps. Do subscribe for a new episode every single week. Please do give us a 5-star review. It helps other people find our podcast. We're also on social media with Facebook and the Gram. Don't be shy, send me a message and come say hello. For more information and to read more articles, please do come over and say hey at sexandsingaporecity.com. That's sex and AND singaporecity.com.